Welcome back to Math 107 College Algebra. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to solve exponential and logarithmic equations. So first, we're going to take a look at exponential equations, and there's going to be two key things that we're going to need. One is, actually, I'll start with the other one instead of what I was starting to write down. We're going to need to work with the definition of the logarithm. And secondly, there's going to be a lot of cases that we need U substitution. So, as an example of a problem you might see, so we could have a problem like e to the 2x minus e to the x minus 6 is equal to 0. So, what we're going to need to do here first is note that e to the 2x is the same thing as e to the x squared. So once we've done that, we can let u equal e to the x. So we now have u squared minus u minus 6 equals 0. Well, now we can go ahead and solve that. That's going to factor to u plus 2 times u minus 3 equals 0. So we get u plus 2 equals 0, or u minus 3 equals 0. So we have u equals negative 2, or u equals 3. And now we'll go ahead and back sub e to the x. So we have e to the x equals negative 2, or e to the x equals 3. Now we know e to the x can't be a negative number. So forget that one, it's not possible. So we'll work with this e to the x equals 3. So here's where we'll apply the definition of the logarithm. We get x is equal to log base e, which is the same thing as ln, of 3. And then at that point we punched it into the calculator, and it turns out x is approximately 1.0986. Now, it won't always be the case that one of your answers cancels out, but in this case, we did have an answer cancel out. So that's one possibility that you could deal with. Now, the other possibility that we could see is when we're dealing with a logarithm or logarithm equation. And there, again, there's going to be two things primarily that we're going to have to deal with. First, again, definition of logarithm. And secondly, we're this time going to be dealing with, on occasion, the properties of logs. So, an equation you might see is going to be log of x plus 2 plus log of x minus 1 equals 1. So the first thing we're going to do here is go ahead and combine those two logs. So we're adding logs, so that means we multiply. And we'll go ahead and carry out the multiplication here. So x squared plus x minus 2 is equal to 1. And now we'll apply the definition of the logarithm, which means I no longer need the log. So that's saying 10 to the first is equal to x squared plus x minus 2. So 10 to the first is just the same as 10, so I'll go ahead and get rid of that exponent here. And we can't solve it in this manner. We need to set it equal to 0. So 0 equals x squared plus x minus 12. And this we can factor fairly easily, so we'll go ahead and do it. So 0 is equal to x plus 4 times x minus 3. So we'll set each of these equal to 0. And solve. So here we get x equals negative 4. And here we get x equals 3. Now you may think that we're done at this point. But that's not the case. We have to actually check our answers here, because sometimes in a situation like this, you'll get an extraneous answer. So, if x equals 4, then our original equation becomes log of negative 2 plus log of negative 5 is equal to 1. Well, we can't take the log of a negative number, so that's not going to work. So we come down here, we can eliminate negative 4. Now the other one we had was x equals 3. So there we have log of 3 plus 2 is 5, plus log of 3 minus 1 is 2, equals 1. And the properties of logs, that says log of 10 equals 1, or 1 equals 1. So that checks out. So a key to remember when you're doing logarithmic equations is you do have to check your work at the end to make sure that you didn't get a situation where the numbers work out, but you're taking the log of a negative number. So, that concludes this video. We'll discuss further problems in class on Tuesday, and I will see you then.